What is up, everybody? We're on day 167 of our Bible in a Year series, continuing on in Psalms today, and actually in Psalm 47. You'll catch me doing that. A single psalm is a psalm, not psalms. There's a lot of people that say psalms just as the name of the book, and so they'll say Psalms 47 or Psalms 23 or whatever. I know that's not correct, but you may catch me slip and say that. Yeah, it's not right. Don't do it. I need to do better. That doesn't bother me as much as people that say revelations. Okay, I'll get off that soapbox. And we will continue on. Psalm 47, we're reading out of the Christian Standard Bible. If you're interested, I have a link to one in the description. It is the CSB Apologetic Study Bible, the Bible I typically use, and there's several of the footnotes or several of the random like notes and things like that that I would bring up come either from there or from something I've looked into because of something that's in there. So good stuff, good stuff. And we will go on in Psalm 47. Clap your hands, all you peoples. Shout to God with the jubilant cry, for the Lord the Most High is awe-inspiring, a great king over the whole earth. He subdues peoples under us and nations under our feet. He chooses for us our inheritance, the pride of Jacob, whom he loves. God ascends among shouts of joy. The Lord with the sound of a ram's horn. Sing praise to God, sing praise to our God, sing praise. Sing a song of wisdom. Our God is king of the whole earth. God reigns over the nations. God is seated on his holy throne. The nobles of his peoples have assembled with the people of the God of Abraham. For the leaders of the earth belong to God. He is greatly exalted. Okay, sorry, I had to mute my computer. Um, note here in this psalm, the writer is celebrating the kingship of Yahweh. The language of this and other so called enthronement psalms, there's also 93 through 98, indicates that the passage is eschatological, which means it's talking about end times. There are several different end times views. I've talked a little bit about that. I don't know if I've done a ton on it. Possibly in the future, I'm actually looking at possibly having some debates scheduled where I'm hosting some debates with individuals talking about ecclesiology. And yeah, it's interesting stuff. I don't know that we can know for sure from the Bible what view. I think it's intentionally left to be a little mysterious, but that is neither here nor there. So this will be fulfilled at the coming of the Lord in judgment. He will reign as the great king over all the earth. So this will be, it's kind of depending on what you believe as how some of this will shake out, but that is 47 is a ecclesiological or not ecclesiological, eschatological psalm. There's a lot of big words. Okay, Psalm 48. The Lord is great and highly praised in the city of our God. His holy mountain, rising splendidly, is the joy of the whole earth. Mount Zion, the summit of Zaphon, is the city of the great king. God is known as a stronghold in its citadels. Look, the king assembled. They advanced together. They looked and froze with fear. They fled in terror. Trembling seized them there. Agony like that of a woman in labor as you wrecked the ships of Tarshish with the east wind. Just as we heard, so we have seen in the city of the Lord of armies, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever. God, within your temple, we contemplate your faithful love. Like your name, God, so praise So your praise reaches to the ends of the earth. Your right hand is filled with justice. Mount Zion is glad. Judah's villages rejoice because of your judgments. Go around Zion, encircle it, count its towers, note its ramparts, tour its citadels, so that you can tell a future generation, this God, our God, forever and ever, he will always lead us. Psalm 49. And this is speaking about, you can see the header there, misplaced trust in wealth. Wisdom Psalms often probe the iniquities of life. Here, the Korahite psalmist wrote of the man who lives for all the pomp and glory this life offers, but dies like everyone else. Okay, and this is one that kind of strikes as a lot of these wisdom psalms do, but this, it has a similar feel to what we will get to in Proverbs. And Proverbs is it's book of wisdom. So, all right, verse 1. Hear this, all you peoples. Listen, all who inhabit the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth speaks wisdom. My heart's meditation brings understanding. I turn my ear to a proverb. I explain my riddle with a lyre. Why should I fear in times of trouble? The iniquity of my foes surrounds me. They trust in their wealth and boast of their abundant riches. Yet these cannot redeem a person or pay his ransom to God. Since the price of redeeming him is too costly, one should forever stop trying, so that he may live forever and not see the pit. For one can see that the wise die, and the foolish and stupid also pass away. Then they leave their wealth to others. Their graves are permanent homes, their dwellings from generation to generation, though they have named estates after themselves. But despite his assets, mankind will not last. He is like the animals that perish. This is the way of those who are arrogant, and of their followers, who approve of their words. Like sheep, they are headed for Sheol. Death will shepherd them. The upright will rule over them in the morning, and their form will waste away in Sheol. So here, the psalmist is using some irony and personification to say that death will feed on the wicked in Sheol. Death leads the sheep to slaughter. In contrast, the upright will triumph in the morning after the night of suffering. So, and there is something I kind of want to touch on, but I'm going to wait till we get through all of this. Yeah. Sorry. Be on. Verse 15. But God will redeem me from the power of Sheol, for he will take me. Do not be afraid when a person gets rich, when the wealth of his house increases, for when he dies, he will take nothing at all. His wealth will not follow him down, though he blesses himself during his lifetime, and you are acclaimed when you do well for yourself. He will go to the generation of his ancestors. They will never see the light. Mankind with his assets, but without understanding, is like the animals that perish. So this is, it makes a good call out, I think, that is hitting a lot of people in at least in the society in the West. So I've talked to my kids before about this, but one of the, I think, the best things that you can do is have kids. I mean, aside from putting your faith in God, believing and joining the family, I think you should get married and you should have kids, unless you feel specifically like you are called not to do that. And I would say that's probably a rare group that is that case. But I think it's a very good and rewarding thing, and it kind of strikes in contrast to what we see in, or what we saw in chapter 49. the kids are a drain financially. Kids are a drain on all resources, really. But it is something that it outlives you, right? I've heard people talk about it, saying like that's like people are very obsessed with like trying to live forever and stuff. That's how you live forever. You pass on, and something else that gets at this too, having a biblical worldview. So you're not putting the value on things monetarily, like a lot of people do. So I'm not saying that we need to be unwise with finances, or bad stewards of finances or anything like that. But I do think there is something to be said about if your mindset is not here, then uh, you're it's not as big a deal if you don't have as much left over. And what they're saying in Psalm 49 there, what good is it, because then they die and they just go in the ground the same way. So if your focus is here, like that's it. That's all you have to look forward to. There's nothing else. Whereas, as a believer, my goal, and there's a lot of Christians that are like this. There's a lot of Christians that are having an impact, that are doing things publicly like what I'm doing, and even bigger scale, and they would have the same mentality of I don't remember who said it originally. It's cool. It's attributed to somebody, I forget who it is, but essentially it is preach the gospel, die, be forgotten. So our goal is not to make a name for ourselves. The goal is not to create something that lasts so that people remember my name 100 years from now. Like I don't care. If you forget my name, most people don't know my name as it is. But my goal is not, and it should never be, for people to remember my name. My goal should be to do things to bring people to God, or help bring people to God. Ruslan KD, his channel is Ruslan KD. Highly recommend. He has something he says frequently. It is our objective should be to know God and to make Him known. That's it. Now, there's a lot of different ways that could happen, and there are things that I could do that is helping to make God known. But if somebody else does it, they could be doing it for the wrong reasons, and vice versa. And so that's not necessarily going to look the same for everybody. But that should be our ultimate goal: to know God, to make Him known. And we see what we saw in chapter 49 is an outline of really what it looks like if you get away from that, if you get to where your focus is on the monetary, on worldly pleasures. Like that's it. That's all you get. It's done. It's gone. And that's not good. All right, Psalm 50. So in this one, this is by Asaph, who's probably David's chief musician. He portrays the appearance of the Lord. He comes in all his glory and beauty to judge the people, particularly with respect to their worship practices. This prophetic psalm is cast as a trial. God is the judge. We see that in verse 6. His convenient people, or covenant people, not convenient people, they're very inconvenient, as we've seen throughout, as we are. His covenant people are the defendants, verse 5, and the heavens and the earth are the witnesses, verse 4. God is a devouring fire, in verse 3, for he does not tolerate anything that does not meet his standards. Okay, verse 1. The mighty one, God, the Lord speaks. He summons the earth from the rising of the sun to its setting, from Zion to perfection of beauty. God appears in radiance. Our God is coming. He will not be silent. Devouring fire precedes him, and a storm rages around him. On high, he summons heaven and earth in order to judge his people. Gather my faithful ones to me, those who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, for God is the judge. Listen, my people, and I will speak. I will testify against you. Israel. I am God, your God. I do not rebuke you for your sacrifices or for your burnt offerings, which are continually before me. I will not take a bull from your household or male goats from your pens. For every animal of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird of the mountains, and the creatures of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world and everything in it is mine. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer a thanksgiving sacrifice to God, and pay your vows to the Most High. Call me, call on me in a day of trouble. I will rescue you, and you will honor me. But God says to the wicked, what right do you have to recite my statutes and take my covenant on your lips? You have instruction and fling my words behind you. When you see a thief, you make friends with him, and you associate with adulterers. You unleash your mouth for evil, and harness your tongue for deceit. You sit maligning your brother, slandering your mother's son. You have done these things, and I kept silent. You thought I was just like you, but I will rebuke you and lay out a case before you. Understand this, you who forgot God, or I will tear you apart, and there will be no one to rescue you. Whoever offers a thanksgiving sacrifice honors me, and whoever orders his conduct, I will show him the salvation of God. And that is it for today. Only doing 4 today. I want to spend a little more time talking about 51 tomorrow, and so I just had to make a judgment call. And so we'll see if it was the right call tomorrow. Yeah, so that is it for today. And for the reading anyways, we'll jump in with our questions. So question 1. Psalm 47 celebrates God's reign over all nations. How does this vision of universal sovereignty challenge us to align our lives with his authority, especially in a divided world? This is an interesting one, especially when looking at the state of like politics in the U.S. So anyone that doesn't know, I live in the U.S. and I actually really enjoy politics, but it's kind of getting to a point where political stances a couple years ago, I don't know. A couple years ago, I would have said it's a lot easier to fit Christianity into one political party over the other. Not saying that political party is perfect. They are not. Not by a long shot. No political party will be. But you could get it to fit into one political party a lot better than in another one. Now, I still think they fit better into the same one than they do the other. But it's gotten to where it's less easily, I guess, it fits. Ultimately, our allegiance lies to God above everything, above our state, above our country. And that's why you see when communist parties come in and take over, one of the first things they do, they get rid of religion or they alter religion. In China, they are trying to alter the Bibles that they have so that it actually, it essentially makes it to where the Chinese government is the highest authority, not God. And because if ultimately your allegiance is to God, that means that there may come a time where what God wants you to do is in contrast with what your country or your government wants you to do, and you will have to choose. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind, that in the current state of the world, regardless of how divided everything is, everything going on, we know ultimately our loyalty lies with the one who is sovereign over all of it. That is God. Or that's where our loyalty lies over everything else. So Question 2. Psalm 51's cry. Oh, I got the wrong question in there. Okay. So we're only going to have 2 questions today. Question 3. Technically, question 2. Psalm 48 through 50 contrast God's justice with human folly. How do these warnings invite us to consider the urgency of living in reverence for God, anticipating Christ's return as judge? I thought this was this was an interesting way to look at this, and I think a lot of people get away from this idea. They think of Jesus coming previously as just this pacifist, never like pushing any type of violence or fight back or anything like that. And they see this view of Jesus coming as the lamb, and that's it. When Jesus came originally, he came as the lamb, the sacrificial lamb. When Jesus comes back, he is coming as the lion. So there is going to be a lot different there. It's not going to look the same. He is going to come to judge the world. And it's going to be very bad for some people. That's very sad to say, very sad to hear. But that is something that we can look forward to. As Christians, we can look forward to that, knowing that our hope is in Christ. And because of that, we have been washed clean. Our sin is gone because of the sacrifice that he made. All we did was accept it. Like there's an analogy. Braxton Hunter's the first person I heard use this, but essentially, you have this debt that's completely insurmountable. You cannot pay it. You couldn't pay it back ever. If you live 5 lifetimes, you couldn't. But someone comes along and they decide to write you a check to pay off this debt. Now, they've written the check. It's already made out. They've handed it to you. You still have to make the decision to put that into your bank. Would you say that you've done anything to earn that? No. But there is an action taken on your behalf, on your end, to do that. Same thing. We make a choice. Again, I'm not reformed. I've said this multiple times. I think if you watch this for long at all, you'll see that I'm not. I'm not reformed. I believe in free will. I believe we have a decision that we make in regards to this, and that is something every man has to do. So, with that, that'll end it. Like I said, I only have 2 questions today because I messed up on one of my questions I have for today is actually for tomorrow. So, don't know what I did there, but it works out. We got about the 23 minutes. So, that is it. Appreciate everyone watching, listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I enjoy reading comments, reacting to comments, interacting with people as much as I can. And so if you want to continue to do that, I very, very much appreciate it. You can, if this has been a blessing to you, share it with others. Word of mouth's the best way that podcasts spread. So you can help somebody have a daily Bible reading they stick with, someone that they can actually go through it, and it's not just something that they read. You can help with that. Could help them stay with a daily Bible reading as well. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing here. So don't go anywhere. Tomorrow we'll be back with day 168. We'll be in Psalm 51 starting off, and I do want to spend a little time talking about Psalm 51. It's I think it's a good one, and very interesting to see because we can tie it directly back to a specific situation with David, and so I think it's good to see, especially in contrast with like some like Job we read previously and things like that. So it'll be good. It'll be good. So you're not gonna want to miss that. It's gonna be great. Thanks. God bless.